Good morning, this is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Tuesday, August 13th, 2024. The main fire potential impacts for the next couple of days are shown here, which include some wind today across northern Nevada and up into southeast Idaho and also across southern Utah. The winds across southern Utah and southern Nevada are stronger than the winds further north, and we have some RHs that are lower on the Nevada side and a bit higher on the Utah side as we see wet thunderstorms, showers and thunderstorms possible once again in much of Utah. Further north over Idaho, isolated to widely scattered mixed wet, dry showers and thunderstorms across the central Idaho mountains and into eastern Idaho and western Wyoming. Tomorrow, the thunderstorms diminish across much of the area except for the far eastern portions of the region. And we have some gusty winds along the Sierra Front, southern Utah, and western Wyoming. But a couple of these areas have higher relative humidities tomorrow, including Wyoming and Utah. And then on Thursday, some storms return to the central Idaho mountains, and we also have wind again along the Sierra Front and in Utah, where in Utah the RHs are a little bit higher. Okay, yesterday was a pretty active day across Utah. Some heavy precipitation across this storm system here in northwest Utah, with over an inch of precipitation recorded at many stations there. Drier over Nevada and Idaho. We have in the lightning shown here on the right, we can see some overnight and into thunderstorms and into the morning. Just to the west of us there in Oregon, and then also eastern Idaho. So again, having some storms already this morning. Fire activity is shown here. We had 15 fires for 7 acres yesterday and just over 5,000 acres on our large fire growth. Precipitation for the past 7 days shown here on the left. We can see most of the precip has occurred over mainly central and southern Utah. This doesn't include the precipitation from yesterday, which would certainly indicate quite a bit over central and northern Utah. And then the 30 days percent of normal is shown here on the right. We can see in the last 30 days we did have quite a bit of precip over northern Nevada into southern Idaho, but some of those impacts have definitely decreased over time. Okay, our ERCs right now are showing pretty low values on a downward trend over Utah and somewhat even over eastern Idaho and into western Wyoming, as we've seen storms reach up there in the past few days. Really high values still over Nevada, especially western Nevada along the Sierra Front. Those values up over the 97th percentile, and some higher values over western Idaho still. This morning's satellite imagery is showing a trough of low pressure over the Pacific Northwest. That's what's helping to enhance or bring some thunderstorms to Idaho today and also draw moisture up further north through Utah. We can see all that moisture here on our satellite image, and then some drier air in Nevada. This low pressure trough over the Pacific Northwest is also bringing gusty winds to many areas in the Great Basin today. Smoke impacts are shown here for today and tomorrow. We're mainly looking at smoke still impacting the central Idaho mountains and somewhat into southwest Idaho today. Tomorrow, some of that smoke will move into eastern Idaho and western Wyoming. All right, for this afternoon, again, looking at that trough of low pressure over the Pacific Northwest, bringing gusty winds to western and southern Nevada, and then also thunderstorms to central Idaho, eastern Idaho, and western Wyoming, and then wetter storms over Utah today. We have high risk issued for lightning across the north and wind in Nevada. Closer look at the wind here, gusty along the Sierra Front, up into northern Nevada and southeast Idaho. Pretty gusty over southwest Utah as well, but the relative humidities are up in that area. Again, looking at Nevada, we're seeing the lowest relative humidities in the low teens. Further north and west, or further north and east, the RHs are up quite a bit, up into the 30s over the higher elevations of Idaho, up into the 40s and 50s in Wyoming and Utah. This morning's radar is showing some showers already in eastern Oregon, should be moving into Idaho throughout the day today, and then some storms already in eastern Idaho, moving into western Wyoming, and of course Utah. So our 24-hour precip totals are shown here, looking at the central Idaho mountains, western Wyoming, and much of Utah, having a chance at those storms again today. Clear over Nevada. On Wednesday, the thunderstorms decrease quite a bit across the area, some drier air moving into the region, as the low still remains over Nevada and Oregon off the coast there. So still some gusty winds here and there, but kind of below critical thresholds. And then we will see some storminess mainly over eastern Idaho, western Wyoming, into northeast Utah. On Thursday, that trough opens up and moves a little bit further eastward. This will bring some showers and thunderstorms back into the central Idaho mountains, and then some gusty winds here and there as well. On Thursday, we do have some gusty winds along the Sierra Front and across much of the state of Utah, but the relative humidities are starting to come down on Thursday. But with the recent precipitation, we're not super worried about this wind in Utah. And higher relative humidities across Idaho and western Wyoming are expected on Thursday as well. So again, looking at the precip expected for Thursday, looking for some storms to move back into the central Idaho mountains while staying fairly clear over Utah and Nevada. 3-day precip totals are shown here, looking for this precip today and once again possible on Thursday, but mostly today over the central Idaho mountains and into western Wyoming. Of course, western Wyoming may see some layering storms tomorrow, and then Utah will see those storms. This is mostly for today. On Friday, drier air moving into much of the Great Basin. We'll see some winds pick up across the area as well. Don't have any high risk issue just yet. We will probably be adding some in as we get a little bit closer here. More of the same expected on Saturday as that low hangs off the California coast, bringing some dry gusty winds into mainly Nevada and parts of western Utah. We do have high risk along the Sierra Front for some gusty winds there. On Saturday, we'll also begin to see moisture returning back to Utah from the south, so increasing thunderstorms over the higher elevations in central and eastern Utah on Saturday. And on Sunday, continued moisture moving back up into Utah, and then more wind as this low pressure system strengthens off the Pacific Northwest coast. Dry, breezy air in place over Nevada and up into western Idaho. We do have high risk issued for western and northwest Nevada on Sunday. And then on Monday, generally more of the same, that low still hanging out there, dry gusty winds over Nevada and up into western Idaho, and then moisture continuing to move up into Utah for showers and thunderstorms there, and possibly even up into southeast Idaho. Precipitation totals for the 7-day are shown here. They don't change a whole lot from the short term as we do dry out, but some moisture expected to return to Utah beginning on Saturday, so we do see some enhanced precip there. The extended outlook for August 20th through the 26th calls for above normal temperatures across much of the Great Basin, and then we still see this signal with southerly moisture moving back into Utah, and then precipitation over the Pacific Northwest, which will most likely stay out of our area. And that concludes today's fire potential briefing. Please check back tomorrow for the latest updates.